interning in New York, and actually I was there for a full year in Arnold in New York, and I started in their brand promotions and new business department as an intern because I met this woman at my uncle's wedding, drunk on a dance floor, and said I was majoring in advertising. She was like, I work at Arnold, we're looking for an intern, and that was in the new business department, and through there I started going down to hanging out with the creative department once a week, and then I stayed on for another semester as the art direction intern, and then another semester as the studio intern. So I definitely had, you know, an in at Arnold in New York. I wanted to come back to Boston, and definitely like the power of LinkedIn. I was constantly searching for people at Arnold, trying to find my way in. I had an interview right when I graduated, more of an informational interview, and after that, it went really well. There weren't any positions open, and after that, literally, I made a note every 4 weeks to like either email or call the recruiter that was there. Even though I didn't hear back sometimes, I just kind of kept pushing, and then just randomly got an interview in the studio, and they hired me the same day. I went in, and it was like a total kind of, you have to be persistent, I guess, if you really want it. And even when I went in and I met again with the creative director and the recruiter, they were like, yeah, we know you emailed us, sorry for not getting back to you. Like, I mean, these people are getting like 500 emails a day, but they remembered me and thought enough to call me when the position opened up.
I had a bit of a background as a web designer, a web developer, a little bit of graphic design, and I'd always been a writer growing up in my own spare time. But then, you know, I did some web design jobs, and when I was applying to Brand Center, there's, you know, copywriter, art director, brand manager, which is like an account executive, someone who deals directly with the client. Do we count people? Yes.
Count people.
So we call it brand manager, but account execs, and then planners. And then creative technology was this brand new track, and everybody wanted one, whatever the hell it is, just give me one. And so I was like, I did some web design, I'll go in as that. And so it was just a way to get into the school, but it ended up being really great. They looked to creative technologists to concept, you know, for apps, website ideas. But that's just the ground level. If you're good, you can do anything. If you're good, you can write, you can art direct, you can. Like I have TV scripts that have already got produced. Like Walmart did Madden 2012 when it came out. There's like this campaign about these two guys that work in an office and they just talk shit to each other on the phone while they're playing. Like I did all those, and they just throw you in, and it's anything that you can come up with because they expect as a creative technologist you know enough about, you know, apps and websites and APIs and things like that to be able to come up with an idea that stretches over everything. Because there will be many people who work with that don't get it and are sort of scared of it, and so as a result of that, their ideas will only stick to traditional media, and they want creative technologists to be able to come up with broad ideas that other ideas sort of hang under like an umbrella.
You definitely have to have a portfolio with what Skylar said, and whether, I mean, there's all different types of creative. I mean, there's art direction, copywriting, which, I mean, a lot of copywriters, they don't come from an art background, more from a writing background, but they can come up with great ideas, and in order to show that, you need to have a book, so that's when you would team up with an art director to do that. So I would say you don't necessarily have to be artistic, but you have to have some piece of creative to show during interviews.
Especially because a lot of the way you're going to be showing your ideas to people, whether you're an art director or not, you're going to have to go into Photoshop and InDesign and be able to put your ideas in like a succinct paragraph with like some images for the first stage of thinking. Like you have to be able to show some guy who's got a 20-second attention span and even less time to actually talk to you. You have to get him to get what you're saying right away. So basic understanding of Creative Suite is, I would say, required for any creative position. And it might even be required for everything, depending upon what you do.
Having extra skills help because I've myself had to jump in and do some copywriting, and I've had to edit things in Photoshop, and I took a web design class here as a journalism student, and that definitely helped me to learn Photoshop and learn some more of the basic programs. And once you learn, you know, one, it's tremendously helpful when there's a fire drill or there's some kind of deadline and you can offer to jump in and help fill in the gaps when needed. It definitely shows initiative there. I guess I can start. Yeah, definitely, because we primarily find a lot of our talent through networking. I mean, now that we're growing, we primarily look for people who are referrals from others, and a lot of, I don't know about agencies you work at, but we get referral bonuses if we bring in talent. So networking is key, because obviously the more people you know, if they bring you in, they're going to be more likely to want to, because they also get that added benefit. But also, it's not about what you put out there, it's also about what you don't want out there, because everything you post online people can find unless you put those certain privacy protections on that. So we, pretty much anybody, if you have, those Facebook pictures from that party the other night where you might be doing something that you don't want a potential employer to see, definitely make sure that that stuff is safeguarded, because that's stuff that every hiring manager, every person who's interviewing you is going to look at. Every time I get a resume on my desk, because I also, like Francesca, interview junior people, look on Facebook, look on Twitter, look on LinkedIn, and see what they're talking about to kind of get an idea of who they are before I actually have a conversation with them.
A big part of how we hire at Forge, and it was the same case at Digitas, is do you like these people? And I think most of my bosses would say, would I want to have a beer with these people? Drinking, I've mentioned this several times, it's a big part of advertising culture. The space that we work in is actually a bar, like with taps, and we drink at afternoon meetings. You don't have to drink. Jackie's face is horrified. You don't, but it's part of the game. It's like we work really hard, long hours, and it's just a way of like being social and getting to know people. So anyway, the moral of that story is not to, be the drunkest person, but just to, network and get to know people on a personal basis, even if you don't think it's going to be a professional connection. Anybody who knows somebody who works at an agency or used to work at an agency is going to be a connection and a way in. Take advantage of alumni, whenever you can. I think there's tons of Northeastern people out in the ad world, and they know tons of other people in the ad world. It's like the longer you've been there, the more people you know all over. So just take advantage of that, and look for people to refer you and get you in the door. They're happy to do it. It's, a testament to them, and it feels flattering, so.
Yeah, I was going to say, just always keep your eyes and ears peeled, and even if you are out at a bar and, talking to someone, you never know where they work, you never know what kind of connection they might have, and just, even if you're still a student, maybe even making a business card or something, you never know when you're going to run into somebody. And also just keeping in touch with people from past co-ops or past jobs. And I still keep in touch regularly with the old creative directors at all my internships, just because you never know. Even though I have a job now, it's just you never know when a new opportunity is going to open up or if something happens at your job. So just always just kind of be alert and keep adding people on LinkedIn and reaching out and just expand your network as much as possible.
A few thoughts on this. You already mentioned LinkedIn as the obvious one. Great way to keep track of people that you've met. First, if you're going to be networking or going to a networking event or you're looking to meet certain types of people, have something to say to them that is both intelligent and worthwhile, because then they will say something back to you. It's conversation, I think is what it's called. But if I bump into a creative director and I'm just like, I like advertising, it is pretty, he'll say, that's nice, go take my empty glasses and get me another drink. If you have insight on work that their agency has done, or you say, I saw that spot, it was really cool how you did this and that, or I really, really liked these sort of things that Wyden and Kennedy are doing. Having those sort of opinions and knowledge and showing that you're actually, a student of the industry and that you really completely invest yourself in it. Like, read agencyspy.com, read Creativity Online. If you can afford to get Ad Age or you have it at school, read Ad Age. Read all that stuff. Start learning the names of the biggest people, because you're talking to somebody, you should be able to reference Lee Clow or Dan Wyden or people like that are icons. And you should know them, just like how if you were going to play pro baseball, you would probably know who the big pro baseball players are. You'd have to, and it's the same thing about with advertising. Another thing, not just for people who are creative technologists or developers, have a website. Not only that has your resume up and shows your personality or has your book up, make it easy to find. That's another way to be found. And don't have it be a sucky website. Like, don't just go get some crappy free so-and-so at or .wordpress.com blog. Like, invest a little bit of money into it if you can. Get hosting and get a nerdy friend to help you make it. Because it's really worthwhile to be able to have not only the business card, but have a place to direct them to from the business card. Like if you go to my portfolio website, the background is a video of me dressed up as a tree playing guitar. And that sort of weird stuff catches people's attention and makes you memorable and makes them want to know more about you. And the last thing, a great way to network is to do something impactful right now. You don't have to wait until you're in an ad agency to make something that gets news or publicity or that catches eyeballs.
We interview people all the time because even if we don't have an opening right now, we want to make sure that we have a list of, however many people in all different positions that we can just call, and when we have an opening, they're there, and we don't have to kind of recruit for people immediately. We want to make sure that we have a pool of talent that we can pick from when we have openings. And agencies are taking on new clients all the time, and they're growing all the time, so sometimes new positions open. So definitely, if you want to talk now, I definitely don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think you should wait until you can start the next day, because they're willing to be accommodating.
Yeah, I would just make it known up front, like, hey, this sounds awesome, perfect fit for me. I'm looking to start this time. Make it clear up front, and they'll pull you out of the pool if they need something immediately. But it won't hurt to say, I applied for this job back then, thought it was a good fit, but this new one looks even better. Or, keep me in mind, I love your agency for these reasons.
Go on as many informational interviews as you can. Like, find a company, even if they're not hiring, contact them. Be like, I know you're not hiring, but I love your work, I love your company. Can I come in and just meet with somebody to learn more about what you do and that kind of stuff? Just get in front of people as much as you can.
And I would definitely say that interviewing is just having those skills and being able to talk to people is key, because when I first started interviewing for co-ops, I actually was so not confident in myself when interviewing. I came to career services and I talked to someone about interviewing, and they videotaped me, and I was like, wow, I look like an idiot. I wouldn't hire me. So please help me be able to market myself. And then the more you do it, the more you know what to say, the more you can talk about yourself. Because talking about yourself, well, in advertising, as Scott said, it is everybody loves themselves. But when you're young and you're not as confident in your experience, you need to keep doing it so it feels natural and it doesn't feel forced and you're not nervous. So the more you do it, the better you'll be at it, and the more confident you'll sound, and you'll know what to say.
They're going to want to see diversity in it. I mean, they don't want to just see a bunch of logos. They want to see how well you can design a Facebook app or an iPhone app or a website. And it's, well, you might not necessarily be doing the programming for those. They want to see how well you can think in terms of design and laying stuff out. For me, I work pretty much all in print, so even though my portfolio is print-based, I have a lot of stuff that I designed. I have iPhone apps that I designed, even though I have no idea how to actually put it together. But I think just diversity, and even if you have a particular style, make sure you incorporate other things too, just so you can show a wide range. Art direction is more about the idea of it. So for me, I'm not as strong of a designer, but I'm a better conceptual thinker. So my portfolio from school, it's changed since, wasn't the best graphic design, but my ideas were really strong, so it's a little bit different. I mean, honestly, I think everything, especially working in an agency now, everything overlaps so much. I kind of had an assumption that if you were an art director, you wouldn't touch Photoshop, but that's so not true. I mean, even writers, graphic designers, you're using everything, so just make sure it's diverse, I guess. That helps if you really need to.
Weirdness. If your book's not weird, I'm not, for instance, I look at books every day just because they try to get people who are in your position that you're applying for to look at it and compare themselves and to say, is this person good enough, or do I want to work with this person? And if your book is not weird and interesting, I'm not even going to go past the first page. And it's not to be rude, it's just there's just that much happening and that much going on. So be attention grabbing, be risky. I mean, that's really That's all I can say. Because if you get me to look at it, instantly your chances have improved monumentally.
Yeah, don't be afraid with your book, especially coming out of school. It was really cool because some of the campaigns and ideas I came up with, you know they would never pass in the real world, but it's your school portfolio, so it's a really good chance to show your personality and show what interests you. So just have fun with it.